from Studio 1A in Snowflake Village. You're listening to Pod Bless Kentucky.
All right, welcome to the show this week, and we are recording on September 6th, 2017. I'd like to welcome everybody to the show. We have Dana and we have Sunny today. It's just the three of us sitting around drinking, and boy, we've had to do a lot of drinking this week with everything going on.
It's so bad that we don't even hardly remember what's been going on.
Yeah, this has been one of the hardest shows we've put together because of all the different stuff that's going on. We have to figure out what we're going to talk about.
Well, y'all let us know if you need space on our charter bus to Betty Ford. We'll get you there.
I'm hoping we get a group, right?
We can hope.
So while things have gone drastically awry, and I mean really fast.
Okay, fast, because it's not any... I mean... It feels like it's the same shit, a different day, but it's kind of different shit. But it's not really different shit. It's still the same shit, right?
Yeah, they just changed the toilet paper occasionally. I don't know what else to say.
That was great.
Maybe they need to clean the shit stains out of the toilet once in a while.
I don't know. You're right, though. I think that's part of the issue is just that we wake up every single day and there's something every single day. And it's even more disgusting and disturbing that it's like that because our president treats every day like it's a news event. And,
every damn day
he has
is
to
a
have
TV
the perfect
reality
ratings.
show.
Yeah, he has to have those ratings.
Well, I do find it funny, though, when he knows it's going to be unpopular or negative, he sends somebody else to do his dirty work.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
And that was very evident this week.
Absolutely.
When Jeff Sessions actually had to go out into the press corps and actually go out and announce that they're going to rescind the DACA announcement and program.
Well, and they made very clear when they made that announcement that he would also be taking no questions when it was done.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on.
And it was dumb because, so
how do you answer
knew,
what is going to happen to 800,000 young people that have been
but
promised?
Everybody knew because Trump kept saying, I'm going to announce my decision on Tuesday. I'm going to announce my decision on Tuesday.
Like it's a cliffhanger for a show that you've been waiting. You got to wait for it to,
duh. We knew he was going to rescind it.
Yeah, because he's an asshole.
He's a racist.
He's a racist asshole.
I'm changing my term for him to bigoted because it goes across color lines.
Sure.
To the point, if you are not a white, wealthy, I'm going to go so far as to say male, he will throw you under the bus and drive over top of you.
Well, and when it comes to his cabinet and things like that, that doesn't even stop him. It's just his first inclination, no matter what, is how does this affect me? How does this, how does it benefit himself? And
will I make money?
Well, and what does having 800,000 people leave the United States? These people consider themselves American. They were raised here. They were children. Sonny, what did you say the average age that they got here was 6?
6.
So they don't know anything other than this. So you're going to send them back to Mexico where maybe if they're lucky they have a grandma that lives there,
And it isn't just Mexico. There's a lot of kids here that came from Ireland.
From Ireland.
Really?
Really,
all
actually,
over the world.
Especially in Kentucky. when we were at this, yesterday.
All the horse trainers and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
We went to the DACA rally. And I knew, I guess, that there were other people here besides Mexican kids that were brought
folks
as
from
children.
Latin America. There are a lot of other people.
That's
there's
probably
kids
the
from
larger
Australia.
percentage.
It
is the horse farms. They bring them over.
But you wonder, how did they get in the country illegally? Or did they
So
come
they
in
did
legally and it just expired?
They come in legally, right? They come with mom and dad
on a
as
temporary
horse,
visa
as
kind
horse
of thing.
Trainers,
okay.
Temporary visa. They start into school, and they keep going in school, and then they don't want to leave.
Well, and their visas expire.
Their visas expire.
Okay.
Parents continue to work because there's no major check with that particular farm that they're working on.
And then they're stuck here.
Then they're stuck.
It's sad. It's so sad.
Well,
And what's really bad is like when Trump was actually campaigning, he basically told these kids that they had nothing to worry about. And all of a sudden he's going back. And that's actually hurting him politically, because his base were the ones that actually did vote for Obama that switched over to Trump, believed in that idea that he would take care of these kids and that he had compassion. But that has completely gone out the window as of now. I mean, wow.
Well, if you have no compassion for 800,000 people, and that you're going to send them back to wherever they're originally from, and you don't really give a damn, then, you're a racist. You need to examine your soul. It's just, that you can do that and just absolutely, but, now Trump is laying this on Congress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He's saying that Congress has to pass a law, and that he's saying Obama overreached when he passed an executive order for this.
Right. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders came out very shortly afterwards when this was announced, and this is what she had to say.
This morning, faced with the very real possibility of a potential immediate shutdown of the entire DACA program by a federal court, President Trump took the responsible and constitutional step of announcing that the administration will be phasing out the program over the next 2 years. Today's September 5th deadline was set by the plaintiffs presenting the administration with two and only two real options to choose from: the likely sudden cancellation of the program by a judge, or an orderly wind down that preserves the rule of law and returns the question to the legislative branch where it belongs.
Okay,
So now,
What is this rule of law bullshit?
see, here's the thing. They believe that, like, the states that are border states that feel that they are being overrun by illegal immigrants, that they are actually suing.
Yeah, some of them have threatened to sue,
have threatened
too.
to sue
And some
Donald
actually
Trump.
have filed,
Right.
right? That's it,
Yeah.
too.
And with that, and gave them two options: either you do this and you do this slowly, or do it quickly. And you only have those two options. So Sarah Huckabee Sanders is saying that he took the latter option, that gives them a little more time and will put it into the hands of Congress. And this is what.
Okay, but I need to go back on that. But when it was the Muslim ban, when they specifically did the Muslim ban, and the states, various attorney generals said, wait, we think this is unconstitutional, and it went through an actual court, a law. It went through laws to see if they were unconstitutional. They're not doing that. So where's this rule of law? They're just saying, oh, stop.
Well, they're saying that he's rescinding an action, a proclamation, or a executive order by.
Right, I get that.
He wasn't creating something new.
But if it had been unconstitutional, if it had been against the law for Obama to do that, then why not at the time that it was created, like the Muslim ban, why wasn't it stopped right then?
Because Congress didn't have that option at that time, and they didn't pursue that option.
Well, there are 10 states that have made it known that they want DACA rescinded. I don't actually know the two states who filed. I've been doing a little quick research, and it's not being very obvious. But Texas, Arkansas, Alabama, Idaho, Kansas, Louisiana, Nebraska, South Carolina, Tennessee, and West Virginia. Hello, South. Largely,
Hello, racist
I know.
states.
And the Idaho, those were all the attorney generals from those states, have made it clear. And then the Idaho governor was the person in that state. But so essentially, Idaho, I don't know how many. I have no clamoring reason other than potatoes to head there. But I hear Des Moines kind of nice.
Which is sad, because I'm sure they have a lot of immigrant workers there who work on these
Who would
farms.
work on the farms?
You would think, and all the rest of them are southern states. And, I'm very proud to be from Texas. I'm proud to be a southerner. And stop ruining it for me, people. Stop. I like being known as slightly genteel, even though I say fuck a lot. And I like being thought of as a lady, even though I say fuck a lot. But, these people are ruining it for being from the South. They're making me look like a jerk.
Well, like we
Never
said before, Sarah Huckabee Sanders actually puts the ball in as Trump has put the ball into Congress's hands, and this is the rest of what she said.
The president chose the latter of the two options.
What's the fate of the lives of 800,000?
Because it's
Dreamers,
Congress's
people in
job to legislate. It's not the president's job to create law.
Then
It's
maybe he
not-
needs to
it's-
stop
it's
signing
Congress's
executive
job
orders.
to create legislation. I think that's something we all learned in 8th grade civics. I know I certainly did, and I think that every member of Congress should know that that is their duty, and we're asking them to fulfill it. It's pretty simple. I think that the American people elected them to do it. And again, if they can't, then they should get out of the way and let somebody else take their job that can actually get something done.
And that's exactly probably what's going to happen in 2018.
Wait.
when all
Sarah
this
Huckabee
changes.
Sanders took a civics class.
Okay. So, I mean, now, I mean,
Sorry.
so this is played, I mean, pretty strong. I mean, this is a huge topic, and people are pretty outraged. And probably the most outraged was the diversity, person in charge of diversity within the Trump administration. And his
Did you look up his name?
Javier Palomares.
Marez.
And
Isn't that
Javier-
a sexy name?
That is a sexy name.
Javier.
It's not, but it's a sexy name.
You got that going for you, Javier.
Now, Javier, you want to talk about having balls. Okay, this guy, he often spoke with CNN, and during this time on CNN, this is what he had to say.
I officially resigned from that council effective immediately.
So you've already turned in your resignation letter to the Trump administration?
There is no letter. This is it. This is the resignation. I don't see the point in continuing to try to work with people that clearly don't see this issue the way I do. I tried to work as hard as I could with this administration on this issue, and I continue to want to work with them on other issues like tax reform, like health care reform, and so many other important things. But I really don't see the logic in doing what we're doing right now.
So he gave zero fucks at that moment and just said, I quit.
That's pretty ballsy to get out there and go, screw you, this is my resignation.
And he
Yeah.
was on.
Mic drop.
He's on the Diversity Council for Trump, correct?
Yes,
Or
yes,
was past
was.
tense? Past tense. So, Trump. How many people? Well, we don't have that statistic. I'm sure somebody can text us that through Facebook. How many people have we had just totally up and quit over race specifically? I mean, like.
I mean, with the fallout of Charlottesburg.
Because there were people from
and-
Charlottesville.
Yeah,
Ville.
I'm sorry. Why did I say Charlottesburg?
I don't know.
Because you're thinking Whitesburg.
Yeah.
Pum.
If you're not familiar, I am from the town of Whitesburg, and
It's well named.
Yeah,
I was going to
so-
say, keyword being
But-
white.
but there have been a lot of people who have quit the Trump administration for actions upon racism. And I mean, it's getting ridiculous.
Well, because, we've talked about this before. Silence is complicity, I mean, did I say that right?
Yeah.
That
The beer is flowing
There's
tonight.
one today. No, I mean seriously, that if you don't speak out, you provide fuel for the fire, and you can't. They're allowing it to grow because they're not denouncing, and if you're not going to denounce, racism,
Basic racism.
Basic
I mean, like, this
racism.
isn't even.
you're a pretty freaking horrible, awful person if you're not willing to say, we're all the same. Go the fuck home. It's just, it's ridiculous.
And I think I'm glad he resigned over DACA. I mean,
Yeah. Well, you
so-
got to take a stand.
You do. And when you think about these are literally kids. These are kids that didn't know, maybe they didn't even know they were actually still here illegally until they applied for that driver's license, until they applied for college and they thought they were going to get some fabulous student loan. They're not.
Nope.
No.
Most of them are going to school out of their own pockets. Most of these kids are trying their damnedest to build a life
Well, and I think
in the only place they know.
and it's a falsehood that they're given. Y'all stop believing that illegal immigrants are given all of these, access to
Nobody gets food stamps.
federal funds. It's not true.
None of them get free medical care.
No, it's a load of shit. So stop believing it.
Now I did ask, like, a social worker. I said, okay, there is this rumor that everyone hears about that, yeah, illegals get these benefits. And they said, well, not exactly. They do. What happens is if an illegal family, husband and wife, have a child within the United States, that child becomes a United citizen.
Right.
They get the benefits for
their
child.
Yes.
Which then they use those benefits to
well,
help
for their
them.
family. I was going to say, I understand this. I'm from a border state, and I can remember going down, years ago, you didn't have to have, if you didn't have a Social Security number for your child, you had to go down and get the birth certificate immediately to be able to file your taxes. And so I went down, 6 weeks after my daughter was born to try to get it. And there are people who come over to have their child and then leave. And that's a thing that Congress loves to glom onto.
Yeah, the anchor baby.
The anchor baby, yeah. But it's not the majority of children that are being born in the U.S.
No.
It's a lot for them to get here altogether, So it wasn't like...
Many of those families will have brought a child over,
right,
and then had a child while they've been working.
Exactly.
And so that other kid is not a U.S. citizen, and they would literally have to separate that whole entire family.
Do you guys know? Because I don't, and I will profess my ignorance on this. What is the amount of money that they can get via DACA for school? Is it zero? Or I thought there was a small $500?
Student loans.
They can get student loans. They can't apply for Pell Grants or any kind of...
So they can get federal student loans?
Yes.
They can, and they're loans, just like the rest of us.
And by the way, those are limited. They're limited to $5,500 the first year. I think it's $6,500 the second year, and then $7,500 or $800 the third and fourth year. And that is not enough to pay for school.
No.
Believe me, I've got child number 2 in college, and we're making up the difference. So,
and maybe most of these students, they're not attending your major universities.
They're probably going to community
to community colleges where they can actually work and try to be part of society.
And they are not murderers. They are not rapists. They don't even have. They have to have a zero criminal.
Yeah, they have
record.
no criminal record.
They can't even have a little itty bitty misdemeanor on their record.
And 91% of them, 91% are employed,
Correct.
and
paying taxes.
Heaven forbid.
Social Security, all of it.
Well, the thing is that
they're not even going to get.
I don't know this. I think it's largely prevalent, but I think it's been around for a long time, obviously, but it's the America First, shit that they're pushing that, kind of fuels this. And
what they don't realize is this is America first. The people are paying our taxes.
Exactly. Well, I mean, and they've proven, I know there have been several things that have come out that showed exactly how much these 800,000 people will contribute to the economy, and it's a lot of money, y'all.
Well, and they have to pay, so part of their DACA thing, they have to pay every 2 years. They pay some
$500.
I want to say
yeah, they have to
maybe $500 every 2 years just
when they
to
refile.
reapply.
Yeah, when they refile every 2 years, they actually have to pay into the government to actually be able to have this status.
Right. I mean, they pay for it, and I remember because Sonny and I have sat on a couple of committees, and I'm pretty sure it's $495, $500 every 2 years because we've helped raise some money to contribute towards that. Because I mean, they're probably scraping by. Most of them are scraping by as it is to pay for school, to pay for
their
living.
families.
Yeah. So I mean,
and the
really
saddest
stupid.
thing that breaks my heart the most about all of this is that there are people who join our military, DACA people who are here on the DACA program that join our military and go overseas to fight for our country. Mm-hmm. And then when they get back,
they can be deported.
They can be deported.
See, okay.
They can be kicked out of our country. If you're fighting for my country, and while I'm sitting at home, and as some young people sitting on their ass, drinking their beer, watching TV, watching NASCAR, and not doing a fucking thing, they need to get their shit in gear and join a fucking military service. And I mean, it's bullshit. If somebody is going to fight for me, hey, that's ridiculous.
Well, and so Tom used to teach history, and Tom knows that in the American Revolutionary War, if a slave served, if they served for 12 months, they became free after that. And I mean, to some extent, if you enter the military, your status should immediately be citizenship.
Yeah, you should get citizenship
Immediately.
right
no
off the
passing
bat.
a test, no nothing. You volunteered for the military. You're fighting for the United States of America. You're a citizen, period, the end.
Unless you don't want it. Okay, but I know. I'm
Right.
just saying.
You should see
it
our
should-
eyebrows
Yeah, I
right
know.
now.
They're-
It should be an option, is all I'm
I
saying.
mean, this
Well,
is people come here to make a better life for themselves.
Yeah, let's be really clear. It's not like people are coming here to be drains on society or because, we give out so much money. People are coming here to provide for their families, to make a better life for themselves or for their children. It's not for any nefarious purposes, as they would all lead you to believe, I mean,
shit,
on.
people from Canada are coming all over here to get health care all the time.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's the
I'm
funniest.
kidding.
He would say that's not true.
This is the funniest thing. So Dana talks about she grew up on a border state. She gets it. I also grew up on a border state
from Canada.
from Canada. And so everything that I see is literally the exact opposite of what she saw.
I'd
Okay,
go crawling
the
into
better
Canada.
hospitals were on the Canadian side. So it
You
wasn't
just didn't have to
unusual.
wait.
You don't even really. Oh my God, that is
Right.
such a freaking
Right.
falsehood.
Now, when I say wait, I mean like a month at the most.
Okay, but it also depends on what it is,
How serious it is, yeah.
how serious it is. If you're gonna die,
I
they're
have
not
to
gonna
have
let
my
you
plastic
die.
surgery next week. I
Okay,
have
see
to.
now that's the thing is they would people from Canada would literally come over to the States because this elective surgery they wanted to have could be done faster in the States because
There are more doctors.
there's
here.
more doctors.
They make more money.
So that's a total falsehood. But anyways, I digress.
No, I mean, I'm
Two different border states.
Yeah, well, I mean, and in Houston, we were pretty far removed from the valley, which is where the border is, So, I mean, it didn't impact my daily life. And I would like to point out, I think for most people, the large majority of people in the United States, it doesn't impact your daily life. And I think that largely it's racism that's the issue. And, I mean, they're not coming to take your skilled labor jobs. They're not coming
No.
to take anything from you.
They're taking jobs that we don't want.
That we're too lazy to do.
Well, we're not going to.
I mean, like, let's be honest. I have. So where I lived in Michigan, we, as kids, we would take jobs on different farms.
Sure.
And we quite often worked with the migrant workers. I know I've spoken about this before on here. I have laid in the dirt picking cucumbers. I almost called them pickles. But we picked the cucumbers and threw them over our shoulders, and we bitched. And if we made it 2 weeks, we were doing well. But those damn migrant workers were out there every damn day doing that job.
Well, and think about
when
it.
we bitched and didn't want to do it. And we were teenagers.
And they were better at it.
Well, they're
Oh,
better.
God, they were so much better
Well, and
at
think
it.
about it. So they're going to pick that farm clean, then they're going to move to the next thing that's being harvested. They're going to, they largely would come up and they would, hit the different states as different things are
But you
harvested
couldn't
and work
even
their way
get
up.
us teenagers to want to do that job for
hell,
more
I'd
than
rather-
2 weeks. There were no adults in the field. Even our supervisors were other teenagers.
Yeah, my dad used to joke that when I got between 72, I was not going to participate.
The big thing I'm glad for is that Paul Ryan supports this.
Nuh-uh.
Wait, this is what he said?
Initially.
Yeah, this is his
The
words.
president might be looking at pulling back DACA, the Dreamers Act.
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't think he should do that. And I believe that this is something that Congress has to fix.
So, I mean, you heard him. He said he
Yeah, but
he
fucking
doesn't
Mitch
agree.
McConnell.
Well, that was, what,
Oh, wait.
4 or 5 days ago, right?
Wait, yeah, that was a few days ago. And now this is what he said.
Yesterday, right?
Actually, today.
Today? Wow.
Oh, my God.
First, let me say, President Obama was wrong to do it in the first place because he overstepped his constitutional bounds. We, the president and Congress, take an oath to support and defend the Constitution. So President Trump was right in his decision. He made the right call.
So, okay,
Okay.
make up your damn mind.
Well, it's not that. Number one,
Here it comes. I can't wait.
You're talking about the president who has signed more executive orders right now than any other one in history. And he's been in office since January. Come on. And number two, and I did say this earlier, but I swore I would repeat it. I wonder how much bleach it takes to get the shit stains off his mouth from kissing Trump's ass. I mean, I don't understand this man at all. I've never been a big fan of Paul Ryan. I kind of think he's a racist douche, but plus he's from Wisconsin.
Yeah. And Iron Stash is going to beat him.
Well, I mean,
that's our hope.
They're also, I believe, wasn't it just Wisconsin that they said was constitute the district lines or
the gerrymandering?
Oh, the gerrymandering.
Yeah, I think that was Wisconsin. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. By the way, these are our opinions, and we fuck up all the time, and we cop to it. So there.
I'm gonna have to make an alert.
Yeah.
These are our opinions.
Yeah.
Please do not.
And remember, they're tempered by a little bit of alcohol, so or inflamed, one or the other.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I really hope Iron Stash wins. It's just because I actually believe that Paul Ryan thinks that he's doing the right thing. I mean, I believe that he has convinced himself that all of this is just and right. And I would not hesitate to say upholds his Christian values in some ways, you know? I know. And
the lack thereof.
Yeah, and the thing is that, you know, you can paint it with whatever brush you would like. I mean, and we've joked about this before, but, you know, and I've been with a good friend who yells, "Hey, Paul, what would Jesus do?" But I think that they're doing whatever they have to do to further themselves, you know?
Yeah. And the big thing is like even like Sarah Huckabee Sanders said earlier.
I call her Sarah Fuckabee.
Okay. it does fall in the hands of Congress to do something.
And they're going to have to now.
This is where us as citizens come in. We have to contact our congressmen.
Okay, but we have fucking Mitch McConnell, who is like, well, I don't think we should be having this.
But it doesn't matter.
This is not the correct thing to be doing.
Call and keep calling.
Fuck him.
Yep.
No, keep calling. It doesn't matter that he's going to do whatever the hell he wants anyway. Your calls go on record, you know? I mean, you have to call because you know what? You can hold him accountable for that the next time it comes around. And unfortunately, 2020, we got a ways to go with this guy. But we can say, you're not voting how your constituents want. And hell, you know, I mean.
He thinks he is, though.
Hashtag ditch Mitch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the big thing. We have to keep contacting our legislators and making them accountable.
Yep.
I mean, it's a huge, huge thing. We can't give up, and especially on this, because there are 800,000 young people counting on us.
They're basically kids.
Yeah.
That is, you know, to put this in perspective, if you live in the state of Kentucky, that is double the size of Lexington.
Only double?
Yeah, it's double the size of Lexington. We have about 400,000 people.
But that's a lot of kids.
That's
so many kids.
That's so many kids. I mean, and these are people who are going to be...
And I can't imagine, so Tom taught with teachers who worked hard to get these kids signed up for it. So they worked hard to get these kids just to come out of the woodwork. They said, trust me.
And be part.
And so they can go to school, so they can further their lives.
So they can, and they don't have to live with this didn't have to live with this constant fear that ICE is going to knock on their door and snatch them away. And guess what? Now the government has, at this point in time, they have a list of their addresses. They have a list of their school. They have a list of their place of employment. And who knows what else they have on these kids. They could just walk in right now and take them.
Well, heaven forbid you have any privacy, you know.
Well, but think about these teachers and these adults, these members of our society that said, trust us, this is a good thing. We're going to make sure you're okay.
I can't imagine how brokenhearted they are.
Yeah, it is kind of tough.
I mean...
the big thing, another thing we have to do, we have to reassure these kids that not to give up. Because a lot of kids heard that news yesterday, and they're just
crushed.
They were crushed. They were like, okay, screw school. I'm gonna find something, and where they can't find me. And something we need to remember. And if you know people who are undocumented and have young people who were part of the DACA program, encourage them to continue their education.
And not to get into trouble. Stay out. I mean, I heard a teacher talking, it might have been last year, about how when the DACA program was presented, suddenly kids stopped joining
joining the gangs,
the Latino gangs.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an incentive to get farther in life. And what I would hate to see is for that to reverse.
Yeah,
for these
not to
kids
give up on
say,
the American
I
dream
don't
just
care
yet.
about school, and I don't care. I'm going to join a gang because what do I have left?
Yeah, don't give up on the American dream just yet. I mean,
There's too many people that'll fight.
yeah, there are a lot of people who are in supporting roles, and this is not going to go away. This next 6 months is going to be a tough fight, but it's going to be a strong fight. So reassure people within the DACA program, if they be Hispanic, if they be different nationalities, just reinforce, hey, stay educated, stay out of trouble. So, I mean, it's been a tough week, and there's been a lot of people talking about different things, and the actual the school situation, and we are wearing red today for.
So
yeah.
I want you all to look around.
Sonny's
Just
wearing red,
picture this.
yeah.
I am the only person in
No,
red.
no. I had my red sweatshirt on when I came in. So, I mean, we're wearing red in support of our state union workers.
Dana's
And
not.
Maybe my underwear are red. You don't know.
You're right.
you never
and
know.
I don't want to know. It's all good.
so we're wearing red. We're in solidarity with our state workers. Our state workers are, I mean, that's another fight. We need to fight with our governor about the pension program. And it's important. So if you're out there, give them their support. Okay?
Well, that's a good time to mention Monday Night for Rights.
Oh, that's right. We have a Monday Night for Rights this Monday coming up. It's going to be at Pivot Brewing down on Delaware Street.
They're actually staying open extra just for us.
Just for us.
Well,
So if you get a chance, come on out, write some postcards. Tell our governor and our congressman just exactly how pissed off we actually are.
Well, there's a great hashtag. We mentioned it last week. It is "A pension is a promise." These people take the jobs that they take for security, but they also take them making less money, so they know that they're going to have a decent retirement and not be not be dependent on Social Security at all because they don't pay into it because they're paying into their pension. So, I mean, we need to be there to support them because everybody deserves not to be in poverty when they're no longer working. I did read that massive numbers of people, because of all of this, are applying for retirement.
Yep.
And they can't even handle the number of people who are applying, and they're putting them off because they don't know what to do.
So I'm getting a giggle out of this. I am delighted beyond belief that that's actually happening because little fuck Bevan, when he did his Facebook Live, and he touted how no teacher would do that because that's leaving their students, and they should care more about their students than they care about their pension, and how no teacher should be even teaching if they cared more about money than they cared about their students. Fuck you. Ha 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 ha. Fuck you, Bevan.
Well,
It's not even a matter of caring more about your students than your money. So, teachers invest a shit ton of money every year. Every year they have to do continuing ed. Every year they have to do. They have stuff they have to buy, even though we get these
what they
ginormous
contribute to their
lists.
Classrooms is more than emotional there. There's a lot of financial.
And then no, they do not work just 180 days a year. No, they are not actually hoarding their sick days because they actually care about their kids, and it's so much more work to not go to school. I'm pretty sure Tom explained it before. It's too much work. So for him to be so derogatory toward teachers, what an asshole. His kids are freaking homeschooled, probably.
I bet they're in private school.
Yeah, they're in private school.
No difference.
There's been a lot of other stuff that's been happening this week. Probably the very interesting thing is there's a lot of going on. The idea of Russia is starting to pop back into the forefront. You're starting to see a letter... a certain letter pop up kind of giving directive of what they were planning to do when they were going to fire Comey.
So this letter, and there's not a whole hell of a lot of information out on it yet. The public does not know what's actually in this letter. The point of this whole letter was it was written in Bedminster, New Jersey, right? Prior to Comey's firing, and it was Trump's initial letter of why he was going to fire Comey.
Hey, Bedminster, isn't that where Trump's golf course is?
Yeah, this is exactly where it was.
Irony.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, actually, that's coincidence.
But you want to know what the best part of this is? Who do you suppose was in that room and given a copy of this letter?
Trump.
Trump wrote it.
But
no, I mean, Pence was there too. Come on.
Pence. Yes. That's all I have to say. I am so
Mike
excited
Pence,
about that.
So he's not as innocent as what it appears.
That actually puts him in with obstruction of justice. At least according to several of the pundits. Seth Abramson specifically, he's a lawyer. And they're saying that makes him...
Well, he's complicit for sure.
Complicit. And misprison or something like that. MISPRISON.
I don't even know what misprison means.
No, we might have to Google that. But he says that's what it is.
Yes, I mean, and then just earlier this week, you have folks in the intelligence community. There's
PP tapes. There's PP tapes.
Misprison means a neglect or wrong performance of an official duty. Concealment of treason or a felony by one who is not a participant in the treason or felony. Seditious conduct against the government or courts. Kind of sounds like,
that sounds way more serious even than...
I love when sedition comes up. That's just one
sedition and treason, both of them. It's like, that's such a bad
So
thing.
our intelligence community has also been doing a lot of work. And now as far as the congressional intelligence community, they have kind of thrown a monkey wrench into kind of things.
Well, they're asking for Trump's dossier, right?
Right. They're asking for a lot of different things.
And this is new and developing, and I only understand bits and pieces of this. So Trey Gowdy, Draco Malfoy in disguise, he has decided that they are going to unilaterally subpoena both the FBI and the Department of Justice to get to this Trump dossier. So, problem one. If you're subpoenaing, I cannot.
Subpoenaing.
See, that just sounds funny.
That word. If you're asking for.
If you're going after the FBI, you're basically trying to go after Mueller here. But, okay, whatever. So let's move on to the Department of Justice. That's Sessions.
Right.
So what they're doing is they're subpoenaing Jeff Sessions. One, Jeff Sessions has recused himself from the Russian stuff, right?
But his deputy might be called in.
See, that's not at all what it's saying. What they're saying, though, is that they have subpoenaed
Jeff Sessions.
So he cannot answer the questions. And by not answering the questions, he's going to have to be fired or resign. And that way his deputy can.
Well, I imagine they'll find a way around that.
If he answers the questions...
He has to resign.
He has to resign because he recused himself. So here's the kicker. Trey Gowdy wants the job. Trey Gowdy was actually the second person that Trump had suggested for Jeff Sessions' job.
Be actually...
You have to be vetted, right?
Yeah, he has to be vetted, and I highly doubt that the Senate would approve of this, and that the...
I don't put anything past
Yeah, that's very true.
Put anything past those pussies. However, what she was about to say.
Maybe.
However, as we were saying, the other forms of the intelligence community have started talking about things that they have found through that Trump dossier.
This is so exciting to me because I've been hoping and praying and wanting this to be true. Three sources on Twitter, 3 different sources on Twitter. Now, that's rumor and innuendo, and I totally understand that. And we're just waiting for it to be verified. Please, 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 please. 3 sources have say that they absolutely, and these are
we're talking the CIA, we're talking the intelligence committees.
These are regarded people that the P tapes from Russia.
This little piggy
exist.
had roast beef. This little piggy had none, and this little piggy went
we
all the way
over
home.
Trump.
All over, I don't know. I don't even want to know. All over Trump, all over the bed. And let's be very clear. That was the bed that Obama and wife. Yep. I found that out. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
But these P tapes supposedly exist, and I want to know, because that means they're going to hit the internet at some point. Please. I want to know. As I
don't
cross my
want to
fingers.
watch it.
I don't want to watch it, but I want his conservative, evangelical, Christian base to know they frickin' exist.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of like the Tanya Harding sex tape that you're like, I don't want to watch that, but. Well, maybe no.
Say mine would have been Pamela Lee, Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee.
Exactly. I mean, believe me, a Donald Trump sex tape is no.
Nobody wants to see
that. But
Nobody.
you do know that on the state Russian TV, the RT.
I don't know. It's
RTV.
RT-TV, I think. I don't know. Anyways, so one of the guys. I don't know what he's an ambassador. I don't remember, and don't even ask me to say his name. He said on this RTV that there is blackmail and that it should be released. That it's time to release.
There you go, Dana.
Please. Now, it
might not be PP tapes.
Well, it might not
be something much better.
Well, so someone I'm very close to, since the beginning of this, has said there's no way that Russia doesn't have something on him,
they had something.
that they have to, because he's kind of falling in line. And there was an interesting, thing that said that this week that said that we're in a marriage and Russia's the groom and we're the bride, and both, I'm not even sure Trump addressed it. Putin basically.
Yeah, Putin did. He was
Putin
like,
did.
no, the U.S. is not my bride.
Yeah. And all I could think of, it doesn't really matter what we are, we're getting fucked either way. But
very true.
But I don't care if he did the peeing or they did the peeing or whatever. I just want whatever they've got that they're able to use as blackmail against the leader of our nation should come out, so we can decide how we're going to get rid of this jackass.
So right now, Dana is making that statement as Trump did, like in front of the press, saying, "Trasha, if you have the tapes, we would love to see them."
To see them, absolutely.
Please.
Well, and he knew that they wouldn't be out because he was capitulating to whatever they wanted at that
Right.
point. But at some point, they're going to ask for something that he absolutely cannot do.
Provide.
And that's going to be the point that his life is going to become something he doesn't know what to do with.
And it's kind of sad because, I mean,
Kalia can't
it's
wait.
going to be another embarrassment for the Trump family. I mean, you
don't
think about
care.
it.
You know
The
what?
Trump family.
I don't care how embarrassed
I understand
they are.
that.
I don't care how bad.
I sit there and I think
actually
about
hurts
like
them.
the Ivanka Trump when she went on the Howard Stern show, and actually he referred to her as a piece of ass. And that, I mean, God, how do you do that to your own child? And I mean, but Ivanka is having her own issues.
You would too have you seen photos of when she was growing up and she's always all over him, sitting on his lap?
Yeah,
and
it's kind of.
I saw one when
It's
she was a
just
teenager
gross.
that is just really disturbing. I mean,
like
really
the one of
disturbing.
them in the bed.
Oh, no, I hadn't seen that. I've seen one that they're like outside on rocks or something, and she's
I mean-
kind of draped all over him like a model, and it's just really creepy.
It is. They're all like that, and there's one of her
And-
sitting on the bed with him. Right
Now,
Gross.
Ivanka has had her share of problems this week. It seems like she's not standing up for women's rights as much as we thought she would be.
Well, she said she was going to fight
She
for
said she
women, yeah.
was, but she has never done it. She's never changed the wages of the people that work for her in China. They're still making 43 cents or 62 cents
I don't know.
an hour or a day.
Well, but they specifically, recently the White House came out and said that they weren't going to protect, I don't remember what it is, and that she came out and said, she didn't say anything,
No, it was a bold-faced lie. She has never had to do anything. She doesn't know. She wrote some book about working mothers or something like that, and it's like a bullshit.
Yeah, you have nannies and you've got,
You have no idea what a working mother even is. Not a clue. I mean,
I would hesitate to say that, whatchamacallit, that Prince William and, Duchess Kate know more about being parents than she does.
I would say that they do, because if you have watched Kate with her children, when they start acting like I saw their little girl throw a temper tantrum on TV the other day. I was just watching a little quick clip, and she threw this little temper tantrum, and Kate did, we call it the mama move, but she grabbed a hold of that little girl's, like the upper arm, and not in a mean way, but just in a very stern way, and turned her and just gave her, that look.
Yeah, the look.
That look. And this little girl's like, what, 2? And she stopped.
Yeah.
So that tells me that Kate has some thing to do with those kids.
Well, and I just think that I don't know what they do or don't do in their, lives. Obviously, I wouldn't claim to know what Ivanka and Jared do. Yeah. But I've seen her little, quippy videos where they've shown around where they live and stuff like that. And it doesn't seem like she really cares about real working moms and about what they really go through, because I don't think that she can understand. She was raised, in a very rich environment with nannies and going to private schools and maybe boarding school even, but, going to very elite type things where it was pretty normal to have a lot of help. And, so that's really all she knows. How can you defend working women and the families when that's not what you know?
Yeah, if you got a chance to watch Michelle Wolf on The Daily Show, she talks about how Ivanka is disappointed with her situation with not being able to change her father's mind on certain
I call bullshit on that. I don't even think
things.
she makes an attempt.
I mean, however, yeah, that's the thing. And people kind of give Ivanka a kind of a pass because she's pretty.
That's true.
And
she's probably pretty smart too.
Yeah, but the sad thing is, trying to imagine this: if the same bullshit that was coming out of her mouth came out of Eric's mouth, we'd be like, "Who the hell is this guy? Why is he?"
Maybe Eric needs to find out who Ivanka's plastic surgeon is, because I'm sorry, you can't look that much different from your brothers.
Well, he's got no chin too. He's got a pretty weak chin, which doesn't help.
They also have this weird smile.
I don't want to be derogatory about anybody in their looks. They're not.
Looks,
I don't find them particularly handsome.
But Eric is not the brightest bulb in the batch,
they're not
in the box.
Neither of them are.
Well, the problem is they open their mouths sometimes when they should just keep them shut.
Very
and
true.
At least Ivanka comes across as
composed
and intelligent, and I do think it's funny how he uses her like she's a seat filler at the Oscars when you get up to go pee. When he gets up, he puts her in the spot. Maybe because she looks good on TV. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
ratings.
But I mean, I just find it very sad when she made it very clear that she was going to stand up, for women, and that she
hasn't done anything.
Has not done anything.
No.
What else is going on this week?
So it was released what Obama's letter was to Trump when he showed him around the White House
for the inauguration.
No, it was what he left for him right at the inauguration.
It was a letter. And he specifically said in that letter that Trump's focus needed to be on North Korea. Not on anything else. And Trump has not focused on North Korea. He hasn't made any. I mean, he's focused on North Korea. Wait, let's read.
No, he hasn't focused. He's focused on racist issues.
He is obsessed with fighting North Korea.
Right. I was going to say, now that's true. I was going to say, well, he is kind of obsessed with North Korea, but that's just because every time they set off a missile or something like that, it's, or they get a little too close to us in the Gulf, or it's not a Gulf, but you know what I mean, in the ocean.
Right.
That he kind of does the, don't you rattle our cage because we're a bigger monster than you are, kind of thing.
Right. And so basically he's totally ignored Obama. I mean, really, he has, because, we're
I'm going to die and not surprise on that one. I mean, come on.
I mean, so North Korea actually had a pretty big week. I mean, they were able to test a hydrogen bomb and set off on the Richter scale.
It was either 6. I'm dyslexic, by the way, so it was either a 6.5 or a 5.6. Anybody can look it up, I'm sure.
I think it was a 6.5.
That's strong.
That is very strong. In the only reason that's why they think it was the hydrogen bomb. it wasn't
that's
just...
that's a scary, scary thing that they're getting that close to this.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, luckily, if there's anyone within the Trump administration that I somewhat kind of feel, okay, this guy's got his shit together, and we're gonna be okay, is General Mattis, and he is saying that he is building a coalition of within the UN to say, hey, if we're attacked, the whole world's coming down on North Korea.
North Carolina.
Yeah, not North Carolina, but North Korea.
Wow.
Yeah, them damn Tar Heels, I'm going to tell you right now. They come shooting baskets, we're going to say
they are a failed democracy, but we're not going to blow you up. We're going to give you a chance to fix it. But North Korea, I think we're going to have to wait and see what they do. Trump is probably, anything he says about it's going to be incredibly well timed, obviously. And
incredibly inflammatory.
Oh, of course. And the thing is that, I said this earlier today. One of the reasons I miss Barack Obama. I don't believe that he always made all the right decisions. I don't believe that he necessarily was, infinitely less or more qualified than anyone else. And I don't believe that, the man made mistakes. We can all cop to that because he's a human being. But I do believe all the way down to the depths of my soul that when he made a decision for the United States of America, he did it with the best of intentions towards every single American. He made, I think he agonized over things. I think he, but it was always, how does this affect the citizens of the United States? How does this affect America? And I think that is my real issue with Trump, is that it's almost like, I don't think he thinks, what can I do to fuck everybody over? I think he thinks, how does this work for me?
What is my benefit from doing
what's in
this?
it for me? Yeah. How do I get, do I at least make those, super right wing conservatives happy?
How do I build my base?
Yeah. As long as I keep them happy, I'll do whatever I have to do.
If I do this, will I be reelected in 2020?
Yeah. And I don't necessarily think that was how Obama worked. I think he thought, I'm here right now. Let's do the best that I can right now,
And I think I think Trump catches some of the mistakes that he made. And he makes, to a certain extent. He catches them,
but he won't admit to them.
He won't admit to them, and then he tries to correct them.
And does them in the worst way possible.
And does it in the worst way possible.
So, when he does the Harvey redo,
when he went down to Texas,
fucked up and went to Corpus Christi.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
well, it wasn't a total fuck up, but he still fucked up and went to Corpus Christi. Didn't meet with any victims. So then he did a redo.
Basically, at a rally.
Basically had a rally. Told them this is a great time and.
Yeah.
Great to see everybody out here.
He's been, too long on the campaign, right?
To
the point that he has to continue it, and that in the worst possible ways, and unfortunately, there's another hurricane coming.
Well, and they've barely. Texas hasn't totally recovered. They're not going to recover for a while.
Yeah, it's going to take time.
Yeah, they just announced that. The House has introduced a bill, and they're going to maybe the new hurricane that's coming is Irma. She's a Category 5, and which is way bad. If you don't know,
185 mile an hour
sustained.
winds.
Well,
sustained.
And to date, that is the highest that the scale goes,
yeah.
And they're actually worried that they may have to increase the scale, but. So that's not good, but they're talking about tacking on aid to Irma on top of that, and Trump did
tying
mention
it to the budget.
Yeah, but he's also talking about raising the debt ceiling, which is exactly what they wanted to not do.
Right.
So which pretty much means they're going to do the exact opposite of what they said they were going to do to get elected. So,
yeah.
What did you just say? I'm going to die of
not
being
surprised.
surprised.
Yeah, by the way, totally stole that from Aladdin.
What totally cracks me up about this is Irma. Okay, Irma's going to hit areas of certain parts of Florida. It's going to hit the Miami-Dade area, Tampa. Well, not exactly Tampa, but it's going to hit the Keys, the Florida Keys. And it's also going to hit possibly, guess where? Mar-a-Lago.
Well,
and gee whiz.
But he will benefit
He did nothing
then.
Leading up into Harvey until landfall. He did nothing until that.
Well, fuck.
Wow.
You know he's gonna,
We're looking at 3 days before it actually hits Florida. and he's already talking about providing assistance.
Well, I also now, like I said, I read this. I think I was sober when I did it, but that he had an estate in the Caribbean too,
in the Caribbean.
that
That's
might
gonna
be
get hit.
that's going to get hit.
So
he's
just going to totally benefit off of this hurricane.
Well, the Caribbean, no, because that's not us. That's
Right.
I doubt they're going to give him flood assistance wherever that is. He's going to be on his own probably.
Unless it's the U.S.
No hurricane.
No, I
insurance
don't think
there.
it's. It's not like the U.S. Virgin Islands or something. Would he get assistance there?
No.
I didn't think so. It's just a territory, right?
Well, he
Actually,
would get.
I don't
Wait,
know.
he would get some property insurance there, but nothing.
Nothing like he would get.
No.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Is there a cap with FEMA?
I'm sure there is.
Yeah, I can't imagine. He's probably still going to be out a lot of money unless he's got the best flood insurance in the world, which he very well might. I don't know. But it'll be, at the very least, and most things down there now are built hurricane grade, but that doesn't mean that there won't be a lot of property damage.
Especially if it's above a
I was going to say, they're built
Category
hurricane
5.
grade. So there were these two buildings. I was reading about them just before we went on air kind of thing. Two buildings in St. Martin, on the island of St. Martin. And those two buildings were supposed to be like Category 5 hurricane proof. They're the best built buildings on this island, right? They were destroyed.
Well, and that's the whole thing, is that you're not going to keep water out either. That's to sustain winds. It's not going to keep water out. And, if he does, I don't wish that on anybody, especially after having so many family members just have gone through Harvey. But he doesn't live there, and it's a resort, So if they, if he loses a few $1 million because it's shut down, for a few months to rebuild or whatever, I'm not going to be heartbroken, he'll be very heartbroken, and he'll fight
harder for anything. For all of that, just so that he makes money.
Right, but I think we should watch what happens if anything happens to Mar-a-Lago and see the amount of time he forces, the
emergency funds and the emergency.
Well, I was going to say how much time he spends at his other resorts himself, because that's what he was calling his winter resort or whatever, Mar-a-Lago.
No, the Winter Palace.
Yeah. So if he can't go down there because it's under construction or whatever, where is he going to go? How much of our federal tax dollars are going to go to protecting him other places? Maybe he'll have to keep his ass home a little bit more, but.
We are wrapping up our show for today. Can you guys think of anything else that's happened this week?
Well, if we want to refer back to DACA, Obama wrote a beautiful, beautiful response to DACA. If you get a chance, both he and Joe Biden wrote some very lovely things. Get a chance to go look at those. It's well worth it.
I'll tell you what, I will try and get that posted onto our site right now.
Yeah, because it really it is everything you want from your president whenever you read it. It's just, I got so excited and teary that I retweeted. I tweeted back to him just because he made me so happy, and it also just made me so sad because I miss him all the more, when stuff like this happens.
Yeah,
don't you just miss somebody who's sane, stable, and thinks before they open their mouth?
Yes, because I thought, I wasn't thrilled when W was president, but I didn't hate him,
I loathe this president.
I can't even handle hearing his voice. It makes me mad.
Mm-hmm.
President Obama, he's only spoken out 3 times against President Trump. And
because it's tradition to not
keep your mouth shut.
Well, to not criticize or to not whatever the current president by the former president. You're not supposed to do that. But
yeah, you're supposed to.
I say, fuck the tradition, and we just need voices of sanity to help us.
I haven't read it, but I believe Bill Clinton put out a response too. I think W is going to sit back and be quiet probably, but he's come out a couple of times about other issues and made some comments. But the Democratic ex-presidents.
Yeah,
are
Bill
say
Clinton
no way.
actually said it is wrong because it's bad policy that solves no pressing problem and raises new ones. It's wrong because it's irresponsible, passing the buck instead of offering sensible solutions for immigration reform. Most of all, it's wrong because it's cruel to send young people to places many of them have never lived and do not know. For them, this is home. The United States is their home.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much, you can't say it any more than that. You're complicating something that's already been solved. You're making Congress have to, address another issue while they're in session. I mean, they don't get to half the crap they're supposed to get to anyway, but let's give them another thing to talk about, I mean, heaven forbid we do the budget, it's just.
Right, I know.
Oh, they're going to put it off, too. I can guarantee you it'll be one of the last things they talk about unless people really push hard.
Very true.
Call your congressman, people.
Other things that have been happening is you have a whole blowback for Joel Osteen.
Oh.
He is everything that the evangelical Christians want and everything that goes against what I understand Christianity to be. So maybe my understanding of Christianity is slightly skewed and maybe biased towards a different faith, but I don't think that you're supposed to lie. And he says he gives this big excuse even to his followers. I don't know what else to call them. About how it was starting to flood and we were worried that we would have people in there and it would start to flood. It was the parking lot. The lower parking lot was flooding.
If you haven't come out of your front of your rock in the past week or so, Joel Osteen heads up a large mega church in Houston. It's very large. They now practice. They have their service in what used to be the home for the Houston Rockets, so it's large. His father was a preacher before him. They had a very large campus on the other side of town from where I was raised. So after his father passed and he took over, they moved into the Summit, and they call it something else now, obviously. It could have very easily they could have had 20,000 people in there, and it wouldn't have been a problem. He claimed that, it wasn't fit to go in and blah, blah, blah. And, there were several people who came out on social media and said, hey, guess what? There's some water down here, but everything else is cool and fine. It's relatively...
So it is a large building.
Yeah, it's a large
building. They could have had people on one side of it and the problem on the other.
It seats 16,000 people. It has chairs for 16,000.
I graduated from high school in that building. I mean, it's big. And, and you think, too, that he's got a large floor down there. They could have thrown down sleeping bags or whatever they needed to. They could have helped a lot of people. And he chose not to. I don't want to question. There are a lot of people who question him because he's kind of a feel-good preacher. There's no everything is always you do the right thing and your life will work out and be wonderful. And, life's not always wonderful. We have to own that. He does catch a lot of criticism. He and his wife write books, and they make a lot of money off their books. They have a very, 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 very substantial estate in regards to
$17 million estate.
And let me tell you.
And he's not taxed.
Well, I don't know if their personal estate is owned by the church or not.
Oh, it is. It is.
Okay, well, if you own a $17 million home and you're a preacher, then you're a mega church and you should be taxed. Yeah, that's a whole another issue. But he catches a lot of flack. There was an incident a couple of years ago when his wife tried to get on a plane that, she basically kicked up shit because, she's hot stuff as, being his wife and, and I made her leave the plane if I remember correctly. So.
Correct.
But,
so he's got a whole big bag of baggage there.
He does.
And so we're gonna end the show today with Roy Zimmerman, our friend Roy, who does a lot of parodies. And this week it is dedicated to Joel Osteen. It's put to the tune of Jolene.
Darling.
Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen. They're begging you to help your fellow man. Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen. But you won't help them even though you can. Now Houston had a mighty flood, but somehow it's your name that's mud, 'cause you just want to keep your carpets clean. You swore that there was no access to your door, and you're right, I guess, 'cause you made sure you kept it locked, Osteen. You offered them your pious prayers, but your prayers couldn't answer theirs. They needed basic shelter and hygiene. And even when you let them in, how long was it before beginning to pass the collection plate, Osteen? Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen. You preach about the Good Samaritan. Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen. But you won't help them even though you can. Your mansion is a testament to living like the 1% with marble tiles and pools of emerald green. Your smile is white beyond compare. You're even slicker than your hair. Your suits are so expensive it's obscene. If you were back in Bethlehem, you'd be the one rejecting them. Yeah, take a hike, that's what you'd say, Osteen. Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen. It's what you call the gospel of prosperity. Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen. What do they think this is, some kind of charity? You would have had a selfless attitude, but no one asked you to, except this dude.